All right, it's October 22nd, and it is 50-mile-an-hour gusting winds today, so no putting up steel. It's supposed to be nice for the next couple weeks and dry, so the concrete company's going to get to me, can't get to me till next week, so that's kind of on hold. I got my main water line all hooked up today. You can see there's a trench that goes all the way out. It was almost 600 feet from where they put the pit here to the house. So got that done. It's a little wet yet to push all that dirt back in with my skid steer, so hopefully within the next day or two with this wind and the sun, get it pushed back in. But I'm going to work on the septic system and get that done. I got a tank on order. It's going to come tomorrow afternoon. And when you if you decide to do a septic tank on system on your own, which most places will let you, I mean, you need to have a little bit of experience. You need a laser level. Is very important because all your field lines have to be completely level if that's the type of system that they approve for you. I had my perk test done so I can have a conventional system. It's going to be a gravity fed system, so there'll be no pumps, anything like that. So I'm digging my hole for my tank. She gave me the dimensions. From the bottom of the tank to the inlet is 66 inches, so I got to get this so when they deliver that tank, they'll set it in the hole. This pipe here, that's the main pipe coming out of the house, will line up with that inlet. And then there's a 3-inch drop on the outlet. It's a dual chamber tank. There's a 3-inch drop, and then it'll go to a distribution box, and then to my field lines. I have 7 field lines out here. All right, I got my hole dug. And I dig it a couple inches below. This is a lot of clay, so it's kind of hard to get a nice smooth bottom. So there's a couple spots that are a little lower than I wanted, so I'm going to get some gravel, put gravel in the hole, get it all leveled off perfectly, compacted, and then my septic tank should be here around noon. I think it's like 9:30 now. All right, I got this all leveled and compacted. Just waiting, waiting for the septic tank to arrive, and the electric company just came, hooked up my meter, put a light up here for me, new pole. I'm pretty excited about that. So yesterday I got my water hooked up. Today I got the electric hooked up, getting the septic tank put in. So it's been a good couple days. So hopefully septic tank arrives here shortly. I can get that set. I can get the distribution box set today yet. And just keep moving forward. It's supposed to be nice for the next 7 to 10 days. So I'm just going to keep plugging away. Tell you what, that's awesome. It went perfectly smoothly. That is Indianola Precast out of Indianola, Iowa. And if you're looking for a septic tank, I would highly recommend them. The owner, she is super nice. She brought me everything I need to hook this up, the risers. I got the distribution box, all the seals, clamps, everything I need, and she even brought me a cooler full of Gatorade. So that's pretty cool. So shout out to Indianola Precast. I will definitely be using them again. Once you get your septic tank set, you can, that's the line coming out of the house. I got to clean out right there. I usually cut my pipe off, and then I can stick this pipe in the tank through the rubber seal and then bring it back and glue it into this coupling. Then everything will come down the pipe, and it'll drop down this pipe, go down here, and this is the first chamber. All your solids will sink to the bottom, the scum will come to the top, and then your liquids will stay in the middle. I'm not sure if you can see, but then the liquids will make it over to the second chamber. So they'll go over to the second chamber. All your solids will be down low, scum at the top, and the liquids will transfer over. And then once you're in this chamber, the same process happens again, and then that is the outlet of the tank, which we're going to hook up now. Here's the inside of the tank. So the water will actually come up in here, and it'll fill up the inside of this tube and then go through the outlet. And then inside this is a filter, so it can catch any paper, solids, anything like that that could possibly plug up your septic field lines. You're supposed to clean that once a year. So that's it. Show you the distribution box. Come out here. This line will drop into here. This is a 9-hole distribution box, so I got one cap, and then there'll be 7 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the main line coming in, which is higher. It'll drop in here, and then I'm going to use Schedule 40 pipe, so they'll come in here. And then these are, you stick in the end of the pipe, and you can make sure that the water is evenly distributed to each pipe. They just go into the end like so, and then you can turn them so all the water goes into each one evenly. So I'm gonna go ahead and shoot my grade for my first highest line and get going. Quick tip, the county I'm in requires inspections, as most do, but there are some rural counties in certain states that don't. But it's always wise to call your local inspector and ask them what they're looking for, because each county varies a little bit. And so I gave him a call this morning, and just for example, where I lived before, they didn't give you as much variance in your 100-foot septic run field line that they do here. So that was good to know. It makes my job a little bit easier. It's just important to talk to them and see what they're going to specifically look for and require before you do it, and then have to redo something. So, all right, I got my first line hooked up, my first leach line all hooked up. Come out of my distribution box, and it connects in, and I have a slope down to my field line, and the inspector said it needs to be on grade, so that means level, plus or minus 2 to 6 inches. So that's a pretty big variance. These septic chambers have, I think they're like 9 or 10 inches high. I think there's about 8 inches of space. So basically what they want is when that water drops into the end of that chamber, and starts filling up, it needs to be able to evenly distribute all the way down. So say you start perfectly on grade and then you're down an inch. Well, that water will come, it'll fill up that inch, and then it'll continue. And it'll do that all the way down the leach line. So I'm starting my second line. I am not an expert at this by any means, so if any of you guys are professional installers, hopefully I don't offend anybody. I'm doing this by myself, trying to use common sense. But my second line, I'm starting from my distribution box and working out. I feel like that is going to work way better. So coming out, and then I'm going to head down to my first chamber, having a slope, and then from this end of my line, each of these lines are 100 foot long. From this end all the way to the other end 100 feet, I shot the grade. It's 6 inches different. So if I start at 30 inches deep, and it rises, the ground actually drops 6 inches, I'll be 24 inches deep down at the other end. And you have to have 6 inches of cover of dirt over these chambers. That's the code here. Definitely got to check with your local county, but that's what it is here. So I'm going to get this line plugged into my first chamber, and then I'm just going to head down, digging on grade as close as I can. I don't know if you can read that, but the septic chambers that I'm using are by Infiltrator, and they're called the Arc, and they're 36 inches wide, and they're low profile. So I've been really happy with them. They hook together real easy. I'll show you how it works here. You got this end here, it's got a little hole there, and then the one that locks in, you put it at, like, I don't know, doesn't take much of a tilt, but you put it in there and then that locks in there. See how that locks in there. That's all there is to it. They're 5 foot long. I have 100 foot septic lines, so 20 of them, and you got it done. I think I got probably 11 or 12 done on this run. So I'm just gonna keep cranking away, and hopefully we get these done. So basically how this works is the water goes into the distribution box and evenly distributes through the 7 lines, and then goes to each field line, and then the water goes underneath these chambers and then seeps back into the ground. So I mean, 700 feet seems like a lot, but they base that on the type of soil you have, how many bedrooms you have, and I can't imagine all these lines being full of water. But I don't know, I'm gonna put they have a little spot, you can see right there, where you can put a 4-inch pipe as like a viewing. So I'm gonna put one of those at the beginning of each run, just because I'm curious to see how much water is actually in them when we really start using this. All right, so these are those levelers. So I got the water, I poured water in here, and I got them all adjusted so the water evenly distributes in all 7 lines. So I'm gonna get the lid put on it. That's all secure for the weekend. I'll keep a little water in this bucket in case the inspector wants to see it on Monday. But that's it. This is episode 13, I believe, and this is going to be the septic system episode. It's not a real exciting one for most people. However, it is a necessity and it is an expensive necessity. So if it's something you think you can do on your own, if you want to rent a backhoe, maybe you have a backhoe, it's definitely doable. I'm going to bring this to you before my inspection, so I'm all done. My inspection's Monday, so you guys will be watching this probably Monday morning, and then Monday afternoon we'll post something on Instagram or something and let you guys know whether it passed or not. And you know, if it doesn't, I'll let you know what I didn't do right and how I got to fix it. But I think it should pass. I did everything they asked me to do. But doing this yourself, I wouldn't say it's an easy task, but it saves you $8,000 to $10,000. I had bought all the septic chambers, and I had an estimate of like $8,500 to put in the septic tank and the leach field, and that's after I had already bought all the septic chambers. But so I decided to do it myself. But basically, this is the pipe right here that comes out of the house. That's a clean out. Comes into my tank, goes into the first chamber, works its way through to the second chamber. The outlet works down to my distribution box, which there's levelers in there for each line, so the water will evenly distribute to each of the 7 lines. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. This was a lot of work. I know it wasn't very exciting, but this is definitely something you're going to have to deal with if you build out in the country. With that being said, you can do it. I believe, you know, maybe I'm just a little stubborn, but I feel like with a little reading, maybe with a little YouTube, I feel like you can do anything if you put your mind to it. So definitely can save a lot of money. So keep that in mind when you're doing something like this. The more you do yourself, the more money you can put in your pocket, and the more affordable this is to do. I couldn't afford to build this place if I was paying somebody to do it, so that's why I'm doing it. And part of the reason I started this YouTube channel and my wife started the blog is because we wanted to share this stuff with you, so that you can have the confidence to do some of this stuff on your own. And the only way you learn is by just jumping in there and doing it. If you're a little anxious or nervous about doing something, you know, the only way you're going to learn is by doing it. Now, I wouldn't say go out and start with a septic system, but you can start small and work your way up. That's what I did. I pretty much taught myself how to do everything, whether that's been watching how-to videos or reading or, you know, working for other people. I've learned how to do a lot, and it saved me a ton of money over the years and has allowed us to get to this point where we can actually build this house on this property. So if you haven't already, click that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. I think we're at like 215 subscribers, which is pretty awesome. We started this, you know, just this spring. I've decided once we get to landmarks, so I think at 500 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers, 5,000, and so on and so forth, I'm going to do a giveaway. And it'll probably be a tool. I haven't decided what the first one will be, but I'm going to be buying a tool to give away at each landmark. I think that's cool. I want to, you know, give out some stuff to people that want to do some of this stuff on their own. So it'll probably be tools that I use a lot, that I feel like, you know, maybe beginners, or even if you're not a beginner, you could use these. I think it'd be a blessing to somebody. So that's what my plan is. If you haven't checked out my wife's blog, www.marshallremodel.com, check that out. That's awesome. Check us out on Instagram. We got tons of updates on there all the time. But stay tuned, because concrete is going in next week. That's going to be a huge stepping stone. And I'm going to start tying in the porch on the house, which will be really cool, and finishing up this steel over the next few weeks. I do have a hunting vacation planned here after next week, so I might have a little break from that, but keep watching. This is going to be exciting. We're taking this thing all the way to the end, so you're going to get to see all the finishing stuff inside. There'll be a lot of how-to stuff in there with bathrooms, building walls, kitchens, building cabinets, all that kind of stuff. So if you're planning on doing something like this yourself, or you just like to learn, I think they're going to have a lot of good stuff coming here in the future. And appreciate you watching.